Yo, JD here, Limitless, and this is Inside Line Racing League, and I believe I think it's round 7 of this championship. As always, I probably got that completely wrong. But we're at France here, Paul Ricard, and in this league, I've missed about 3 races so far, but my last 2 races have been very, very good. I had a second place at Canada, and then I had a first place at Spain in Catalonia in the wet, making that one-stop strategy work. But here, we're at France, as I said, Paul Ricard, and this track I absolutely love. It's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, and again, using this Fanatec DD1, and this is a one-stop strategy where you ideally won't be on mediums, which we are on right now, and it's pretty much a one-shot qualifying. As you can see, I was just invalidating my soft laps at the start of the session, which you're probably wondering why I was doing that on stream, and yes, that was intentional because I don't want to be starting on softs. But coming into this race, despite me loving this track, I was really struggling with the qualifying pace. I was really struggling, and again, I think that's just down to the pedals and me just getting used to it. I'm actually using just the normal Fanatec stock pedals now, not the load cell anymore. But yeah, coming into this, my PB was like a 30.7, something like that. So when pole is probably going to be a low 30. So I wasn't optimistic at all. But the lap so far, we are less than a tenth down on the current pole time of 30.1. And I did see that. But going through this corner here, go massively out wide. Just crazy how wide we've gone through there. So in my head, I actually felt the lap was pretty much almost gone at this point, and we just got to try and make up some time through these last 2 corners, which I had to say is probably one of my favourite sequence of corners on the actual game. I know it sounds crazy, but going for that last corner, just making a little bit of a hash of that apex, going a little bit wide, but coming across the line, we do a 30.2, which I couldn't believe. That was a PB by like half a second. No joke at all. So I was really pretty surprised at that. We come P6, but only 2 tenths away from pole. So I was actually quite hyped going into the race now, because I felt my race pace was really good. But I was just really nervous about the qualifying. But confirming there that the pace is not bad at all. And again, as I said, every race I do in this equipment, I'm just feeling more comfortable, and I'm starting to really love it now. It feels absolutely awesome, but I still need to just get that consistency down, as we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, starting in P6 here. We're surprised not on pole. It's OMG is on pole, Joe is on pole, and we get a good start compared to people behind, but the people in front that get a good start, so we're kind of in no man's land going through this turn 1 here, and we actually get hit on the rear, almost losing the car. We actually lost the position, the TSR Bastek, and we've got Leopard rejoining the track just behind me, so we've lost 1 position. Don't know who actually hit me there, but we're going to be navigating here. As a surprise, it's actually gone round. That's the championship leader, and we've gone down the inside of Bastek, just trying to take advantage of him, kind of caught napping by him, I think, just watching the surprise just spin round, and we've gone back into 5th place, so we lost the position. Now we've gained 2 positions back into 5th, and it's game on now. I felt my race pace felt good when I was practicing with the likes of Syra and Simon as well. It felt really good actually. So right now I'm sitting in a pretty good position. Most people have actually done 2 laps on the tyres, because I actually just risked it. I just went up for the 1 lap of fuel. Didn't really care if I started outside the top 10, because I wasn't really confident with my quality pace. So I thought if I mess up the lap, it doesn't really matter too much. I'll just try and come back through the field. So I think we actually have some pretty good set of tyres as well. P5 here, Simon out in the lead, and yeah, I was feeling good. I was feeling really good, and we've got Infamous behind us. We're in a VSR sandwich right now, and I can see this is really normally a good opportunity to really try and go down the inside of Overkills, as the stream was crashing a little bit, so that's why you'll probably see a little bit of those screen freezes. That's not the video, that's actually the stream that did that. A little bit ambitious move going down there, but in the past that has worked for me. But I think at the moment I still need to feel just a little bit more with this new setup, the Fanatec I've got. I just need to feel a little bit more comfortable going wheel to wheel. But skipping on to the end of lap 6 now, nothing really much to happen there. Kind of just sat behind him. He just lost the DRS, I think, to the 3 guys in front of him. It's very actually hard to overtake if you got someone who's got DRS in front of you. And now this is the opportunity I was waiting for. Got a nice little small buffer behind us, and the front 3 are starting to battle. And now I saw this as my opportunity to just really get on with things. You can see we've got a lot of ERS and fuel saved as well. And I was really just trying to be patient, just look after my tyres and just the ERS as well. And now just try and use it to now actually catch up to the rest of the guys up ahead. As we skip on to the end of lap 7 now, it's actually Syra, as you can see there. He's actually gone into the pit lane, so he's gone for a pretty early pit stop, and he'll be going onto the hard tyres. As you can see, a little bit of a screen freeze once again, but he'll be going to the end on the hard tyres. Soft tyres pretty much go off after like a few laps here. I'm going to skip on to lap 10 now, so we stayed out for another 3 laps extra. So I wasn't really too worried about Syra. I knew he'd be getting undercut, but I knew he'd be really struggling with his tyres at the end. As the top 2 actually go in, I make a last minute decision to follow them into the pits, and I almost got a penalty for speeding in the pits there. And I think I actually gained a little bit of time going to them. I was kind of maintaining the gap a little bit. I think I lost maybe a couple tenths in those few laps, because they were DRSing each other, and when that happens it's very hard to actually catch up when you're in that position. But coming out my pit box now, we are right behind OMG's Joe, so I've definitely gained some time here. And going across lines, V Cyrus, that's the fastest lap of the race, and you can see he has got quite a bit undercut. He always gets a very, very big undercut, so he's very good at heating up his tyres. And we've lost 1 position to Infamous, and we've got Overkill still behind me. We've actually extended the gap behind, so the pit stop, we definitely gained some time. And now this is the point where we really need to start getting through the traffic, because there's a lot of people who are going long in the first stint on the hard tyres, you can see. So we're in P13, but a net position, we're really in like a P4, P5 at this stage. Another screen freeze once again, but Dralex just moves out the way, so that's really, really nice of him. It's always nice when people move out of the way, because I think he realises he's not on the same strategy. He's got to make another pit stop, and we're already right behind him. And now moving to the middle of lap 13, coming out of this first sector here, getting a nice little run on Infamous. You can see what the straight line speed is roughly going to be like here, but he actually has DRS on the car ahead of him, which is OMG It's Joe. A lot of people are braking on that curb, but for me, I didn't feel really confident braking on that curb. I just felt just sticking on the track. I just didn't lock up, I didn't really wear out my tyres, and to be honest, I just felt much more comfortable doing that. So I think I was the only driver that actually did it. But we've actually gone past Infamous here, who does not fight it too hard. So they're very similar to what we did to VSR Overkills in the first stint. And now we've got our sights set on OMG It's Joe. We've got plenty of ERS, so we've been very, very efficient this race, and we've still got a lot of fuel left. Despite 13 laps halfway through this race, we haven't even used the half the fuel we actually started with, so we're doing very well at maintaining this. And I was thinking in my mind at this stage, just save it for the end of the race and launch a big attack, because tyres are a very big thing around here. You can see going purple in that last sector as well. Tyres are a very big thing around here, and I know although Syra is about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of us at this point, I knew that his tyres would be absolutely done at the end of this race. So I was very much keeping that in mind. Coming up behind P1R Brown now, and he's got DRS on OMG It's Joe. Try not to extend this too much around here, although a lot of drivers do. I think the limits are a little bit stricter now in this game. And getting a very, very nice run on him here. I think he is going to have DRS on the car ahead, but he decides not to open it. I think he decides to open it now, and I think that's very clear, the same as what he did before. I'm saying a little thank you there if you wonder what that squiggle was. He doesn't really fight too hard, because again, he hasn't even stopped yet, and he's got to make another stop. There's no point in him losing time, and it's all good news for me. But later on, we get past him, and we actually get right up to the back of OMG It's Joe. And at this stage of the race, you can see we're very, very close behind him, pitted on the same lap. But I feel I definitely have more pace than him at this stage in the race. I feel I've looked after my tyres better. You can see with the fuel and the ERS, we've got so much ERS left as well, and that is very, very important right here. However, it's very easy to stick with another car if you get past. So I knew if I got past him, it's going to be very, very hard to shake him off, as someone else has pitted, so we're back into P6, Joe P5 ahead of me, and there's a few others who need to pit out ahead of us as well. We're coming on to lap 17 here. If you look at the minimap, the McLaren of CRG Simon, who pitted very early, who was actually net leader of this race, has come into the pit, and you can see on the left hand side, on the top left, he was on soft tyres. I think I can confirm now that the game actually put him on the wrong tyres, which is why he got such a big lead, and now he's had to pit again. So now we are in a podium position. We're in a net P3 right now with Syra net leader, and I think we've got, my teammate who still hasn't pitted yet. You can see Joe using that outside curb, but I could brake much later by not going on that curb. That's what I found. I felt I could just be much later on the brakes. Although I'm making the angle a little bit tighter for myself, I just felt so much more consistent me doing that. But again, you can see here, this is really my strategy of race, just not using any ERS of fuel and just really cooling down my engine, because that makes a big difference in performance as well. We are pretty much on full throttle for quite a lot of this lap, so I'm really just trying to plan my attack for the end. With Syra is not that far ahead of us. Well, we're in a P3 now, a real P3. Still got Infamous behind me, as I said, it's very, very difficult to shake people off, but he is a very, very good driver as well, taking some nice wide lines. And I can see here Joe, I definitely feel I have the pace in him, definitely, but I just know it's going to be very, very hard to get away from him. So I was kind of hoping that we could start closing in on Syra as quick as we can, which I think we are. I think we are closing in very, very slowly, but it's going to be the last really 3 laps of this race where we're going to be making, I think, massive inroads into his lead. But you have to look behind on the minimap as well. That blue dot, that is Surprise, who's making a very good comeback after being spun out, or I think he took himself out at the start of the race. I think he hit Simon, if you watch the replays of the stream. He's making a very, very good comeback. You can see Joe here. I think that's a little signal that he's not really going to fight this too hard. I think that's what I was thinking anyway. And now I take over in second place, and now he's probably going to be using me to try and catch up to Syra here. And I can't use any fuel saving or any ERS saving because we're in behind someone. As I said, it's very easy to stay behind them, and you could just really just save your tyres, save your ERS, save your engine temperature and everything as well. Now I'm the one who's got to push, but I was really kind of hoping now if I could just try and get out of his DRS. If I could get out of his DRS, I think there's a chance I can definitely pull away from him. And you can see already, just through the traction, we have already pulled away slightly. But moving on to the next lap, lap 21, we'll be able to see if there's any challenge down the straight. And so far, doesn't look like he's going to be challenging us down here, because we're not breaking the curb once again. But we are slowly, I think, but surely starting to make some inroads into Syra. But I can confirm Syra does have a penalty as well, so I don't even need to close up 3 seconds. I just need to get within 3 seconds, and my engineer did tell me that about a lap before this. You can see he's about 4.2 seconds, but I know that gap is going to come down because I'm getting quicker and I've got so much of my fuel and ERS to play with. But I have got Joe and Surprise and Infamous right behind me. Joe is going to re-overtake me, so again, not fighting this too hard as well. Going on the brakes here, and then going to this corner, we've just been spun round completely. And yeah, I just, at the map moment, I had no idea what even happened there. And going across that, we get a 10-second penalty for cutting the track as well. We've got to do a little bit of a replay here, which we'll probably do in slow motion. You can see in my mirror, Joe overtakes me, and that Mercedes, he just completely outbrakes himself, and that causes us to spin out. I decided to go across the track because the angle to come back through that corner, and I had traffic coming through as well. Didn't go full throttle, only full throttle now once I passed it. It gave me a 10-second penalty. And skipping towards the end of the lap, you can see Surprise ahead of me. I think he's got wing damage ahead of it as well. And honestly, I just didn't know what happened in that moment. But trying not to lose my head. Surprise lets me past here, but it's good to let me pass. But the damage has really kind of been done at this point. And he's got damage as well, and it's really damaged my chances of winning this race, which I thought I had a very, very good chance of winning this race. But we've actually caught up to the group ahead, so it's not all lost at this point. Potentially, if we can appeal the penalty, there is still a chance of a podium in this race. And we're going up behind Infamous once again, where he's got Leopard and VSR overkills out ahead of him. You can see Surprise, that blue dot, he's kind of fallen back into the pack now with that wing damage. But you can see we're right behind Infamous. We've got to pull out last minute, last corner here. We make contact with Leopard and Infamous, and by the shake of my head, that was my fault. That was just far too ambitious, and although I was alongside him, I actually hit Leopard as well, which we'll be able to see again in slow motion. You can see I'm right alongside him, actually ahead of him here, but he kind of turned in, and then I hit Leopard as well. You'll be able to see just a little head shake. That was fully my fault, completely my fault. So I apologise to Infamous and Leopard as well. That was completely my fault. Shouldn't have gone for a move like that. But coming on to the last lap now, we're in P8 here. And as a result of that, we've lost those couple of positions. And I've got my teammate in front of him. So still, we've got to fight for this championship. We've got to fight for every single point. We've got to go round the outside for this right-hander, which we're doing successfully. He's been on those soft tyres for quite a while now, I think. And again, they run out extremely quickly. And we actually managed to pull the move off here, locking up slightly. I think he's going to go try and go for a switchback, but we've still got some ERS and fuel to play with. As long as we do well in this last corner. Again, I think he's carrying so much speed. He's trying to go down my inside here. We cover off the inside, going through the last corner, P7. We do have that penalty though, so coming across the line, let's see where we come as Surprise destroys this car. I don't think he was, you know, he hasn't had a good race, but neither did I. But yeah, come home P8 there with the penalty, and we'll be able to see what the results were at the end of the race. And you can see, pretty miffed after that, but tried to keep my head. Shouldn't have gone for that move at the end, but a very entertaining, a really fun race to do. And I can confirm my penalty actually did in fact get removed, which means I was promoted to P3 in this race. So got a good haul of points. Very, very grateful that penalty actually got removed. In terms of Surprise, I didn't report him because he waited for me. I haven't had an explanation from him. I had no messages from him or anything at all, which is, you know, that's down to him if he wants to apologise or anything at all. But yeah, could have been better, but that's how it is. I want to say thank you again for watching my streams. Hopefully you've enjoyed this race, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.